Hi everyone and welcome back to Spring of Series 12 in Forza Horizon 5. This is the Gauntlet, the final race of the Dirt Racing Series and the longest track in all of Forza Horizon 5. So make sure to allocate you some proper time for this race, relax and get comfortable. You're gonna be here for at least 20 minutes if you want to complete this seasonal challenge, and I think this is the longest seasonal challenge, seasonal championship since the game release so far. I don't think there was anything longer, at least anything that could not be passed in a faster way. And similarly, it's really up to you whether you want to tackle this in single player or the co-op. Co-op may be a little bit more fun, because you do get to race real humans, but definitely the single player is much safer because you have the unlimited rewind function and there's a lot of checkpoints that are easy to miss on this track. So maybe you'll want to opt for the single player and do it at your own pace. Now, the car restrictions for this championship is Rally Monsters in S1 class. At least they didn't make it a B class or C class, which is really good. And there's plenty of really good cars in Rally Monsters categories, so the choice is yours, what you want to get. But I chose my favorite free roam car, which is the Hoonigan RS200 Evolution. And the reason it's my favorite free roam car is it's really good both on track and off-road. So it's a very universal car which is still really fast and very comfortable to drive. And the shame is I never actually had a good chance to get racing with it apart from roaming. So this felt like an ideal situation for this. As you can see, we already passed all of the AIs without any serious effort. So again, if you just want to tick the box and get done with this challenge as fast as you can, then grab this car or anything that suits your liking and safely, carefully just drive through it. You still, my estimate, you're gonna need at least 20 minutes for it, unless you are somewhere in the top of the world, in which case you probably won't need any of my advices and you know what you're gonna be doing. Another thing about this track is I actually didn't drive it a lot, again due to its length really. So I think I drove the Gauntlet a total of 2 times. Once to complete the story requirements, when you need to complete the final races of each racing type, and once in rivals, but just once. So yeah, I don't have a whole lot of memories about this track. I mean, memorizing the track that is 58 or 59 kilometers long is a challenge on its own, but some practice wouldn't hurt, obviously. But I'm not prepared to go for a couple of laps prior to recording this video, so I just jumped into my RS200 and gonna try to do as good as I can. And so far it's not too good performance wise. You've seen me doing a lot of mistakes already. I'm hitting a lot of walls and sliding in a lot of corners, and seemingly that's how it's gonna go. Hopefully I don't mess it up somehow, but so far we seem pretty good. We have a very fast teammate in the Porsche right in front of us, who's also, you know, seems to be a good chap to race against, because there's no aggressiveness. We are respecting each other and it's close racing, but no collisions, or yeah, this minimal amount. So great pleasure. It's not always like that, which is why doing this race in co-op may not be the optimal experience. Imagine getting a lobby where where the players cannot beat the AI and get stuck behind, like the two guys we have in the lobby, and there's not enough players in front. Ooh, I missed this corner completely. Yeah, I'll probably be overtaken now. Not yet. Okay, so I'm not alone in this. Yeah, imagine driving for 20 minutes just to find yourself missing the score by 200 points or something like that. That would be quite infuriating for many people. So single player feels much safer. However, if you have time and desire, then doing it in co-op is definitely more fun, because if this was a single player, then I'd probably be ahead of all of the AIs by 2 or 3% mark on this track, so about a minute into the race or less, and then the rest would be just racing myself and just, well, driving really. Okay, now I'm gonna be overtaken, if not immediately, then very shortly, because see, I am making quite a few mistakes. It's a little late for me. It's just past 1 a.m. and I had a really busy day, but I wanted to record this today before going to bed, so I can release it sometime tomorrow, because I know I'm already late with the videos, which I mentioned before. I'm traveling quite a bit lately. This should change next week, so next week should be on schedule, but sometimes you never know. Anyways, 1/3 of a race in, and judging by the time, yeah, it looks like a 20 minutes mark. I forgot to check the rivals times for S1 class on Gauntlet, so I'm not sure, but somehow at the back of my mind the memory says around 20 minutes should be a reasonably good time, which means, yeah, that's the least you need to allocate for that. I'm a little bit worried about what's going on a bit behind us. So there's me and a teammate. Yeah, you see, nice racing and really close. Good, off you go. I could block the line a little bit more aggressively here, but there's no point. I mean, we are on the same side. Imagine both of us ending up out of the checkpoint as a result of that fight. That would be so embarrassing. Might cause some rage quitting as well. But the third of our teammates seems to be constantly in the fight with AI, because I'm pretty sure they were on a third position at least at some point of the race, and now fell down 2 positions, which should place them somewhere like in the middle of the AA pack. So I'm not quite sure, but that's a worrying situation, because with 5 players, 2 of us being in first and second position is actually not enough on its own if other players don't pull at least some of the weight. As you can see, my RS200 seems to have real speed advantage on the straights and fast corners over the Porsche, which is quite surprisingly, I thought, quite a... Oh, alright, yeah. I forgot about the corner. Oh, such a nice person, look at that. Not only, I mean, I screwed it up, don't get it wrong. There's nothing my teammate has to be sorry about. Yes, they slammed into me, but by that time, my corner was already ruined. I absolutely bottled it myself. And nonetheless, because there was a contact, they said sorry and let me go, which is really nice. Obviously, we can afford that. The AIs are so far behind that whatever, you know, contact is there, we can afford to be nice to each other and let each other go, you know, slow down here or there. It's all fine. If the rest of the racing was tighter, now I again messed it up, Then obviously you leave a little bit less space for courtesies, because it's good to return the position, but you don't want to risk the team losing with that. Yeah, I almost went off the bridge. That would that would be that would be really funny. Hey, first, a second, no, off the bridge. That just happened in the trial last week. For those who have seen it, it was quite hilarious. So I don't want to be in a clown role myself. So we're now driving up the Volcano, pretty much repeating the route of Volcanosprit, the road race. So for now it's a road section with a lot of twisty corners and a lot of checkpoints to miss if you are into that kind of a play, but we'll try to avoid that. But I seem to be falling quite a bit behind. I mean, I was already seriously behind my teammate. That last smash in the corner costed me so much time that I'm not even sure there is a possibility to recover from that. But the race is very long though, so we're just past halfway and there is space for mistakes. But obviously when you are driving in the first place with a gap like this, when nobody's breathing down your rear bumper, the pressure immediately disappears, and it's much easier to drive with less mistakes, and you can actually afford yourself to, you know, slow down a tiny bit if you are going in the wrong on the wrong line, to just correct the mistake before it becomes a catastrophe. It all becomes quite a bit harder when you feel the pressure of somebody being right behind you. But yeah, I'm falling further and further behind. Maybe I'm just a little bit too tired for the long track like that, but yeah, we're now past the point of no return. Now the time already invested in the race is too long for me to just back out and say, maybe I'll just record it tomorrow. You know, I'm gonna run it till the end, unless I somehow mess it up so much that it's gonna be a detriment to the team's result. But we seem to be fine. We have a little positive motion at the very end of the track. Yeah, one of our players is firmly on the last place, but another one gained one position. And if you think that doesn't mean much, it actually does. Every position you gain is 200 points towards your team score. 100 points for you for overtaking the AI itself, and minus 100 points for the AI team because now they are behind you, not ahead. So that's all good and nice, and our third teammate seems to have settled in the fourth position, at least for now. But yeah, looking, I had a glance on the map, and they are in the middle of the tight AI pack, so almost anything can happen there. But as long as they are ahead of say 3 AIs, that's a net neutral. 3 are in front of you, 3 are behind, so your net sum is 0 points, which means which would be a not a bad scenario, right? Obviously anything above being in front of 3 AIs is net positive to your team. So again, don't ever fret about, oh, I'm so far behind. If there are 3 AIs behind you, then you are not doing any harm to the team at all, and actually you might be slowing down those AIs, giving some breathing space to the rest of the team. If you have more than 3 AIs behind you, then you are definitely net positive, even if you're not fighting for the first place. Now we're up on the Volcano and we're starting our descent, pretty much repeating the Montagna trail, which is, yeah, long and dangerous track. There are quite a few possibilities here to fly off the cliff and lose some stupid amount of time. Luckily I didn't do any of that, but I missed the corner well, not the corner. I managed to put myself sideways horribly. That alone was probably, I don't know, 5 seconds or so. Yeah, unfortunately, a very nice and polite racing we had with a teammate who's in the first position. I'm now way too far for it for it to be considered an actual racing between us. But it was really nice in the first third or half of the race. Now I'm just trying to minimize the damage and make sure I don't fall any further behind. We don't want to risk a loss in here, and this is still a possibility. Speaking about other cars, it looks like the game itself recommends these the Porsche 911 RS3 Forza edition, exactly the one that my teammate ahead is driving. And yeah, a lot of people is gonna tend to choose it. I do hope they do apply tunes on it, but it seems to work really well, judging by performance of my teammate in front. They had no issues whatsoever passing AIs, and maybe they'd have a bit of a difficulty racing the RS200 that I'm driving if I was driving it right, but I'm not. Am I catching up a little bit? But maybe a tiny bit. There's a reasonably fast road section, I think, after we finish this Montagna trail part, so maybe I'll get a little bit closer by the end of this race. But again, I don't think there's any hope left for me to be in the first place. Yeah, but there's still plenty rally monsters that you can drive in this race. The Honda Civic is really nice. There's a Cossi. There's a whole bunch of Hoonigan cars. You have obviously the Cossi, the Ford Escort Cosworth, but you also have the Focus RS, which is another of my favorite cars from Forza Horizon 4. But I didn't have. I wanted to drive that RS for this race, but I looked at the selection of tunes I already had for it, and I couldn't see anything that would feel competitive right away. They are all like more cruising or wrong class tunes. So I was a little bit lazy. RS200 I have equipped already with a suitable tune, and yeah, as you can see, AI is not even a factor in this competition. They're so far behind, and since we passed the whole bunch in the very beginning, they've never even been on the radar. We are slowly approaching the end of the race, and I wonder how many cars are gonna finish. I'm not sure how far or close our third teammate and that AI pack are to us, but it might very well be that only one other person except for two of us here gonna finish, or maybe it's gonna be a DNF all around. I don't know. Just to get through this sandy section. I did gain a lot of time on my teammate, well, and lost it right here, but it looks like they had some severe mistake, something like one of my mess ups, because I can't see why otherwise that I'd get so much closer so quickly. But maybe we'll get into some racing in the very end. I don't know. We'll see. So to be honest, the race went surprisingly quickly. I expected the 20 minutes to last much longer in relative terms, obviously. It's all about perceptions. There are scenarios in your life when 20 minutes feel like an absolute flash, but sometimes they last super long. So I expected this to feel super long, but no, quite surprisingly it went by quite quickly. So here is the asphalt section, and you can see I visibly gained time on my teammate. Like yeah, this RS200 in terms of the top speed on the straight is much faster than that Porsche, but not fast enough. They definitely crossed the line first and I'm second. Yeah, that's the Gauntlet for us. Was much closer though in the end than I thought it would be, and maybe if I didn't mess up that hard on the Montagna Trail part, I could have a win. And yeah, everybody else have DNF, so yeah, it's only two of us. Right, that's it for it. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.